and then give me a thumbs up to let me know when we're great. All right, so welcome to today's talk about building your campus community. Just a brief overview of our agenda today. First, we're going to talk about finding friends on campus, so learning how to start connecting with students and opportunities. The second portion of our talk will be about preparing with peers. So finding friends is important, but there are peers who can be academic support resources to you that may or may not develop into friendships. Then next we'll move on to staff connections. So people like myself and Olivia who can help you engage and find resources within different departments on campus. And we will end with helping you have a foundation about how to talk to and engage with faculty. So if at any point you have questions or want me to go back or talk more in depth about something, feel free, like I said previously, to unmute yourself or to throw something in the chat. So finding friends, ways to start finding friends. This is something that seems like it could be really easy, but it can also be incredibly overwhelming because there are over 20,000 students at the University of Kansas. So there are several different spaces that we want to kind of highlight for you to start connecting with other students and talk about a few buildings and places on campus where you can do that. So start getting to know your on-campus and or off-campus roommates. So who is in the room right next door, someone that you might see in conversation in the hallways, in the elevators, things like that. Just start chatting up those people. Maybe ask those random questions like, what is your favorite bagel? Or have conversations about innocuous things like the incredibly hot weather we are experiencing right now. Another way that you can make friends on campus is by joining a club or organization. So KU, I don't know if they still have over 600, but at one point there were over 600 registered student organizations on campus, and they covered a wide range of topics based on something that you're passionate about, something that's connected to your major or potential future career interests. So you can learn more about that variety of organizations before you really connect with any of them if you just want to get an idea of what's out there. A way to sort of explore all of that is going to be the first week when you're on campus attending Hawk Week and Union Fest. So on August 20th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. That's when you'll have an opportunity to learn more about all of the different organizations. So the organizations on campus are through the Student Involvement and Leadership Center, and that is located in the Kansas Union. But if you want to start looking at what different types of organizations there are right now, you can just go to rockchalkcentral.ku.edu and you can search all of the different organizations that are out there. You can search by type, like we said, by major, by interest, and just to help get an idea of ones that you might want to connect with once you get here. Another way to find friends is by attending campus-wide events. So that way you're building a connection to campus itself, but you're also getting to know other KU students. So we just mentioned Hawk Week and Union Fest, two big events that are going on. There are tons of events all across campus, and a way to make sure that you're connecting with those is to look at the student events calendar. So that's a rather long website, but it's calendar.ku.edu/department/student_union_activities. If you just Google KU calendar, that's another way to just find out about different things going on at KU. Another sort of caveat I'll add there is social media as well. If y'all have attended orientation already and gone to the opportunities fair, lots of the tables talk about, oh, follow us on social media. Lots of times that's going to be how you find out about events that are going on. And that's a passive way to just have those organizations showing up in your feed. And so you can just see, oh, hey, there is this thing coming up on Friday. I don't have anything going on Friday. I might go to that. So all of those are different opportunities for finding friends. And because we are the Academic Retention and Engagement Center, we also wanted to highlight a few different ways that we can help you make those connections and find friends as well. So we have a lot of different events and programs that we host during the academic semester that you can take advantage of. So you can come and connect at any of those programs, bring friends to those programs. Career exploration is something else that we can help with. We provide free opportunities to students to gain experiences that will be beneficial in your future careers and developing those competencies. And community building is also a big focus of our office. So the different events and things that we have, which we'll talk a bit more about in depth, anything that the AREC hosts is an opportunity for you to connect with other students who share one of your identities. So you can, even if you're attending an event that is, say, academic in nature, that might also be a way for you to make friends and get connected because those people have things in common with you. And like we mentioned at the top, finding people that you have things in common with is a great way to start building those friendships. So a specific opportunity through the AREC is options. So the Opening Paths to Individual Opportunity and Success, it's a free program open to our HawkLink students, which all of you are. And so that allows you to move in a few days early before everybody else. And then from that first moment you get here through the next couple days, you have lots of different programming and interactive experiences, presentations, and time to reflect. So you can get accustomed to campus and then also start building that community and connecting with students. You can ask questions directly to KU faculty and staff and get sort of a head start on how to navigate campus. So if you haven't registered for options yet, you can do that through the AREC website, which is just engagement.ku.edu. And if you click around, you'll find the options program and you can register for that there. So throughout the academic year, we will have several different programs. One that we want to make sure that we highlight, though, is what we are calling Wellness Wednesdays. So these are safe spaces where students can build community, figure out how to cope with the stress of college, and connect to each other as well as to resources. So some of them are fun times for just getting together and painting and having snacks. Others of them will be more focused on a specific resource and getting connected to that resource and more informational. But we just wanted to have essentially a weekly tradition that any HawkLink student knows they can always attend. So these will always be on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Anschutz Library on the 3rd floor in room 3 North. So that's a way for you to consistently get engaged. Even if you miss one of them, know that it will always be there when you're ready to come back to it. We'll have the full schedule posted for that at some point. So if there are some of them that pique your interest more than others, you'll be able to do that. That will be a great way for you all to get connected and build friends. So I said that we were also going to discuss peers and what that type of relationship might look like. So peer-led academic resources are kind of a big thing at KU. It's something that we want to get students engaged with other students and helping other students, because the students who went through just a year or two before you are the ones who are going to have the closest idea of what you might be experiencing. So these types of resources that we're going to discuss are academic resources that are offered here to you at KU for needing help with classes, or if you need help with a paper or something like that. Peer-led resources are there to help you get access to that. However, a caveat there is that we want you to understand that these student-led programs are a resource for you academically, and just to be holistically successful, the intent of these resources is not to make friends. These relationships could develop into friendships, but that's not necessarily the goal of this type of academic programming. So these are resources that we want you to feel comfortable connecting to. These are resources that can help you understand course content, prepare for exams, improve your writing. If you're having difficulty with a course, this is also, maybe you haven't had to write a college level paper beyond something that you wrote for admissions, and you're having struggles or challenges. Maybe you're asked to write in a citation style that you've never used before. These type of peer-led resources can help you navigate that space. So one of those academic peer mentoring programs is one that is hosted in the AREC, and we just call it the peer mentoring program. So it is to support your academic and social engagement for first and second year students. So mentees, so the first and second year students, are paired with an upper division student. That pairing can be based on major, career interests, and or personal interests. And mentees will meet regularly with their mentor. So what that looks like, how often that happens, is entirely dependent on whatever the mentee will need. So maybe it's a temporary thing, you're just struggling with time management the first couple weeks. You might want to connect with a mentor to address that issue specifically. And then once you get a schedule down, maybe you don't need the mentor anymore for that reason, but maybe you need to come back to mentoring later because you are having a different challenge that you can't quite figure out how to address with other resources. So peer mentors might also be a resource that helps you engage socially. Like I said, the AREC is having lots of those different types of events and things like our weekly wellness traditions on Wednesdays, but maybe you feel awkward going to that type of event alone. You haven't had a chance to make friends yet. The peer mentor program might offer an avenue, what we will call take twos. So you would meet up with a group of peer mentors and their mentees at a different location and then walk over to this event. So you'd be going as a group. So then this peer group can help you make those friendship type connections. We're still building out a lot of that programming and what it'll look like and the structure, but ultimately it will be about what you need to get from that program. So you can learn more about that on the engagement.ku.edu and then go over to the peer mentoring side of things. Be on the lookout in a couple weeks. We'll be sharing more information about that program and the specifics of it, how you can sign up for it, things like that. We'll also be talking about it a lot at options. So if you haven't registered for options, that would be another great way to engage during that time. So the Academic Retention Engagement Center, which is what we are, is under a bigger umbrella called the University Academic Support Center. And there are several offices housed under that bigger UASC umbrella. One of those is the Academic Learning Center. So the Academic Learning Center offers a variety of services and programs to help students be successful. You can choose from individual consultations, group workshops, or course-specific academic assistance. They also have appointments or walk-ins that you can do. They are currently in Westco Hall, and that is a resource that you can access on their website, learning.ku.edu, or you can email them at learning@ku.edu. They might be one of the centers that is moving into Anschutz Library this fall. So if you can't find them there, check out Anschutz. Kaylee, great question. If you have signed up for options, but want to make sure that it went through, I would recommend sending an email to arec@ku.edu, just so we can check your registration there. Let me make sure I've got that email address correct. Yep, arec@ku.edu to email any questions about options. Another center under the You Ask umbrella is the KU Writing Center. So even the best writers need help or need feedback. There's no such thing as a perfect writer. Every piece of writing can always be improved. So the Writing Center is a great resource that offers an array of services from, if you just want someone to proofread your paper, you don't need interaction at all. They have a service where you can just submit it online and get an electronic consultation. You can meet with a person to discuss brainstorming ideas. So you've been given this assignment, you have no idea what you want to write about. Hey there, did you have a question? Someone is off mute. Okay. Yes, like I said, if you have questions, feel free to unmute and hop in and ask them or put them in the chat. But so the Writing Center can really help you with every single step of your writing process, from that brainstorming an idea to editing and revising a draft to everything up until that final submission. And you can access that electronically or by appointment. You can learn about all of their wide array of resources at writing.ku.edu or emailing them at writing@ku.edu. So staff are people at the University of Kansas that can also be a huge benefit to you academically and contribute to your success. Like I mentioned before, Olivia and I are two of those people who are here to help you be successful academically. And so staff at the university are going to be a bit different than staff that you encountered in, say, your high school or as camp counselors, things like that. KU staff members are trained professionals. So we are here to help get you connected to resources, whether that be academic or departmental resources. Lots of us know about other areas of campus, even if we don't work in that specific area. I have worked in 6 different offices across the university in the time that I've been here. So even if I don't know something myself, I probably know somebody who knows the answer, so I could help connect you with those people. Staff can give you a better idea and understanding of different types of policies. So policies are they can be complex and clunky and hard to understand, full of jargon. So if you have questions about things like add, drop, withdrawal policies, refund policies, things like that, staff can help you understand those. Or, in my case, I may not understand all of the details of that policy, but I can help give you a general idea and then connect you with the experts in that specific area. So staff can also assist you with your academic and professional goals. We have been through higher education ourselves, and we may have experienced some of the same challenges and struggles that you're facing, including deciding what you want your professional career to look like. So those are all ways that staff can help. I also want to acknowledge it can feel really intimidating and overwhelming to connect with staff or professional people across campus. And hopefully, it doesn't feel too intimidating that you're not able to reach out and send someone an email or connect with them in the hallway when you're walking past them. So just like student-led resources here at KU, staff are always here to help with anything that you need. So maybe, not necessarily be best friends, invite you home for Thanksgiving or anything like that. But if there's a resource on campus that you need, you may not know what that resource is, but having a conversation with a staff member, they can help identify what type of resource you might need and then get you connected with it. So even if it's something that you think a staff member may not know, it definitely doesn't hurt to ask, because like I said, even if they are not the experts, they probably know who is. So one set of staff members, again, because we are the Academic Retention Engagement Center, we want to highlight our center. So we have several staff members to help you. We have an associate director, currently one assistant director, and then 2 program coordinators. We also have grad students, interns. We're looking to hire another assistant director. So we have a pretty small team, but we're all dedicated and here to help you. Our office in particular does serve as a bridge to connect you with all these other resources. So even if we don't know everything there is to know about financial aid policy, we probably know the people who work in the financial aid office. So rather than just sending you over to talk to an office, we can probably connect you to a person in that office. So that's why we do all of the different events and programming and things like that, like options. That's a way to help get you connected to those things that you may not even know that you want to get connected to. So KU is a massive campus with tons of offices. A good way to learn about them is by clicking around on the KU website. Almost every center, every office, every department will have their own website, and on the websites, you can learn things like their office location, what services are offered by that office, their hours of operation and contact information. A lot of times KU websites will have all of that packed at the bottom of the page. So you'll have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, but you'll usually see the address, the email address, the phone number. So even if you can't find a person in that office that you necessarily want to connect to, like I mentioned with the AREC email address, that's just our general email for the whole entire team. So different folks are checking that to make sure that messages get to where they need to go. So if you don't know a person you need to contact, those general office emails are a great way to get connected to someone who can help get you to the exact right person. Websites can definitely be confusing to navigate. KU has done a lot recently to streamline a lot of their websites, but just fully acknowledging they can be hard to navigate. And if you're ever encountering too many roadblocks and getting frustrated, centers like the AREC are here to help you sort of distill all of that down and figure out exactly what you need to be looking for. So then we've got a couple slides that show exactly sort of what I was talking about. So on KU websites, there will always be those 3 little lines on the left-hand side of the page that are the menu, and that will open up to the different resources. Different, like the AREC one will open up to different programs that are offered. So we've got our homepage, then programs will open up into, it would help if I clicked onto the next slide there. So we've got our homepage. That's just the main navigation menu that would take you back to that first page. Programs is where you're going to learn about all of the different things that are going on in the AREC. So options, peer mentoring, this summer success series, all of those things are going to be under programs. About is a page that is on almost every KU website, if not everyone, that should just share a little bit about what the office is, what types of things they offer, what their role is in the bigger picture at KU. Some offices, not all, will have contact information for individual people listed under contact, or it could be under people. So this is where I say it can get a little challenging to navigate depending on how a specific center or department has their page set up. Some of them contact might mean their physical location. So if you click on contact on the AREC's page, it shows you the map to Summerfield Hall, so where you can come and physically find us. But you would have to go into the people page to see the individual staff members and their contact information. And then like in the first slide where I was talking about scrolling all the way to the bottom, if you've just sort of hit that roadblock, you don't know who to contact, that's where you scroll all the way down to the dark blue bar. Oops, sorry there. All the way down to the dark blue bar, and then that's where you will find the basic information for the office. So even if you can't find my specific email or Olivia's, the AREC one will get you to a staff member in this office. That's also something important to keep in mind because KU is a business organization. So sometimes staff members will leave or move to different offices. And if you email a staff member and get a response back that they're no longer in that office or something, the departmental email accounts. So the arec@ku.edu is going to remain the same regardless of who the staff members are. So that is a good way to make that initial contact, even if you are not quite sure about which staff member you would need to talk to. So we've gotten through our first 3 areas, the 2 different types of student interactions you might want to develop, friendships, and then peer academic support. We've talked a bit about staff members. We're going to close out today talking about faculty and how to connect with your different faculty members. So connecting with university faculty can be a lot different than connecting with your high school instructors. Faculty members in a university might just be tenured or tenure track faculty members, and that's all they do, but they might also be working professionals like me. I teach 2 different leadership studies classes, but I'm also a staff member. Or they might be researchers who are just teaching a class or 2 to help fill a gap, or holding down a variety of other roles while also teaching at the university. So you may have heard the term lecturer or adjunct. Those are 2 types of faculty members who maybe don't do this as their full-time gig. Maybe teaching is just something they do on the side. So you're going to get a lot more diversity in the types of faculty members that you encounter in the university versus being in high school. So when interacting with faculty, you want to make sure you're always respectful and maybe skewing a little bit more on the formal side when communicating with them, at least until you get to know them personally. Just like staff members at KU, faculty do want you to succeed and be successful. And also like staff members, it can feel intimidating to talk to them, especially if you're trying to ask them for help, or if you know that maybe you're not doing well in their class and you don't know why. Any questions or concerns that you have, ultimately the faculty do want to help you, even if you can't quite articulate what help you need. So to that end, we're going to share some tips and tricks on communication, and then have some sort of templates that you can follow. So in emailing a professor or instructor, make sure you're always including a proper title. So either doctor or instructor or professor. However, it can be a little tricky to know if the doctor part is applicable because a lot of people like myself don't have PhDs, but are still able to teach at the university level. So even your graduate teaching assistants, maybe they haven't earned their doctorate yet. An easier, respectful way to address them would be instructor or professor. So in my case, Professor Nyans would be more appropriate than saying Mrs. Nyans. which is something I definitely do not like. Ms. Nyans, absolutely acceptable. Mrs. No, thank you. So in composing your email, also try to include some type of greeting and closing. So think of it more like writing a formal letter to somebody. So, good morning, good afternoon, or hello, name, not just starting in with what you need from them. Same thing with closing, sincerely, best, thank you, whatever feels comfortable and natural for you. Like I said, skew a little bit more on the formal tone when communicating with your professor, just to try and make it as clear as possible what you're asking from them. Include a subject line that can definitely help them know what type of need you have, and can also sort of help them assess the urgency. So if you need to meet with them to discuss an upcoming test on Wednesday and you're emailing on Monday, if you say, regarding upcoming tests in the subject line, they're going to know that's something they need to respond to before Wednesday. So an example for something less urgent might be if you just want to schedule time for office hours, putting the subject line LDST 202 office hours. Also make sure that you're reading through your email just like you would any other paper or formal assignment to check for grammar, punctuation, spelling mistakes, just to make sure your message is coming across as clear as it can. Knowing how to communicate with a particular professor might change from person to person. Different people might have different styles. Some might be okay with first names once they get to know you. Knowing even how to contact them might be a bit challenging. So we're going to show you a little bit of a syllabus that I have from a past class. So this was the syllabus from my LDST 202 class. This is a course that I co-taught several years ago with someone who wanted to just get into teaching and learn how to facilitate a class. And so my contact information was always at the top of my syllabus. So once you've gotten into the class and the professor has sent you the syllabus or posted it on Canvas, that will almost always have their contact information on it. It may not look like this. It might be buried on the 3rd or 4th page. So you might have to scroll through to find the contact information, but it will always be on there somewhere. It will also be an indicator of how to address them. It can be potentially. I mean, mine just says my name because I don't have the doctorate degree. But if someone puts on their syllabus, Dr. Jane Smith, address that person as Dr. Jane Smith. If they don't, professor or instructor is completely fine and a nice, safe way to maintain that formal distance in the email and show that respect to the person that you're asking a question from. So this is one example of an email. Office hours are something, again, that maybe you didn't experience in high school. They are a fantastic resource in college. Now, if we look back at my syllabus, my office hours said by appointment. Some professors will have specific days and times when they're available. That does not mean that that's the only day or time that they're able to meet with you. It just means that that is a guaranteed time that you should be able to find them in their office. So in this example, if someone were emailing to ask about my office hours, because I do list them as by appointment only, they might write, "Good afternoon, Professor Nyans. This is," insert your name. "I'm in your Introduction to Leadership Applications class. I'm contacting you to see if I'd be able to schedule an office hours appointment with you for this week. I have some questions about the course material we went over last week and wanted to discuss it with you in more detail, or if you had some time." That's a great way to start it because you're saying exactly what you need, not necessarily the specific question that you have, but you're letting me know, okay, you want to discuss what we did in class last week. That gives me the opportunity to say, okay, this was the topic last week. I have a general idea of what you want to talk about. and you're giving that deadline of, I want to meet with you this week. And then concluding with, I'm willing to accommodate dates and times. Let me know what days and times work best for you. Then, close with a kind greeting. Thank you for your help. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Sincerely, Nate. You can also propose several dates and times if you already have ones that work for you. That's another great tactic to use, but just make sure that you've got that respectful greeting that addresses the person properly. You're talking about exactly what you want to meet about. You're not just saying, I want to meet with you. Give them some idea so they can help prepare notes. So in this case, I would have my notes from the previous week's lecture out so we could go over those in depth. And I mean, not that you have to share if it's something personal, but if it is something personal that you don't want to share in email, give them at least that context. And then just close with something, again, kind and respectful. Another example of something that I always like to discuss with my students is asking for an extension. So this will not work with every professor, full disclaimer there, but in classes like mine, I want students to know that they can ask for an extension. So in this example, dear Professor Nyans, I hope you're doing well. Wanted to connect with you to see if I would be able to have an extension on our writing assignment that is due early next week. I had a family emergency this week and I haven't been able to dedicate as much time as I wanted to our writing assignment. If you could let me know if that's okay when you can, I would greatly appreciate it. So that's just a brief example. Give, a reason I had this thing come up. For me personally, I would much rather have students take a little bit longer so that they can do their best work. So if you're coming to a professor and saying, I could get this done, but I don't want to rush it, I want to give you my best work, that might make them a bit more willing to give you an extension. Also, if you can give a date by when you can complete the assignment, so saying, it's due this Friday, if I could have until next Tuesday, I could do a much better job. That will really help strengthen your case because you're showing that you've put thought into how much time you might need. Also doing this sort of proactively, so maybe not the morning that the assignment is due, emailing at least a day or two in advance to say, I'm trying to work on this. Please, can I have your help here? And also being fully ready to accept that they may not respond or they may not give you that extension. But I think knowing that it's possible to ask for an extension is an incredibly important thing for students to know that they can do. Again, not every professor will accept that, but this was sort of a big change that I found in going from high school to college, that professors do tend to be a bit more flexible than high school teachers with regards to due dates, things like that. Another sort of tip is that you might be able to ask your professors, specifically on writing assignments, to review them early. If you're able to manage your time well, get something done, get an early draft done in advance. If you're unsure about whether or not you're doing exactly what they asked, you can email them and say, hey, could you please look over this and let me know if I'm going in the right direction? And they might be willing to give you that sort of advanced feedback. Again, that's sort of a difference from high school, and not every professor, of course, but it is potentially an option here. And if that fails, there is the Writing Center that can help you out as well. But again, just make sure you're taking full advantage of all of your resources, whether that be students, staff, or faculty. Everyone wants you to be able to succeed academically. So that's just the end of our formal presentation. If you have any questions, Olivia, you can go ahead and stop recording.